Welcome to the grand finale of the Ocean Race VO65 Sprint here in Genova, Italy. Today is our last event, our last day of racing. It's the We Build Import Race, the final chance for points in this edition. It's also the last day of sailing here in Genova, a city which welcomed our VO65s after their final offshore stage from The Hague and has been entertaining our sailors since that arrivals. And joining me for commentary today is Sam Davies. Sam, talk us through the wind we have.
Nice weather for being on the beach. It's going to be difficult for the sailing, I think, because there's not much wind today. Looks like there's a little bit of sea breeze coming in right now.
And this is how the course is looking here, Sam.
Yeah, so it's, as you said, a reaching start. A jibe round Mark 1 and 2, reach again up to 3-4 and tacking around. And they're hoping to get 3 laps in. But potentially they might finish after just 2 laps if there's not enough wind.
The line is certainly quite wide, more than enough room there for all 5 of our VO65s to get a chunk from the line. Team JAJO down to leeward. They are in a bit of a tricky position with Viva Mexico going over the top, along with WindWhisper Racing Team as well. Pablo Arate needs to come off this line clear. He needs a good race, a simple finish will be fine. Doesn't want to get stuck though in no breeze. And right now for that start, everyone very cautious indeed here, Sam. But I mean, I'm guessing Mirpuri Tripod Racing Team at the windward edge, they're definitely going to have the best of the breeze. Team JAJO at the complete opposite. They are in a real risk here. Look at this. Mirpuri Tripod Racing Team, the Danish team, can put the bow down and motor over the top of all 4 of our other VO65s. And the first one of these teams to lose that lane is going to be punished. They are going to slip from bad air to bad air, and they're going to fall right off the back of this group. Oh, they look very happy on board. You can see the crew, all of the weight forward, getting the trim and the balance of the boat as effective as they can for the light winds. Really
have their bow ahead of the others, so yeah, it was a big risk to do that, not to have your bow out, just a 1 meter or 2 ahead. So
they might be getting near it, but in terms of time, they're a long way off it. I mean, this is really light winds, and we've only been a couple of minutes after the start, and everyone's really stretched out. You talk about that distance from Viva Mexico at the moment in 5th place, Team JAJO in 1st place. That's a lot of minutes it's going to take to sail back up into 1st.
A great shot here. We can actually see the 2 marks, Mark 1 and 2, from the helicopter. So the first mark there on the top right of the screen, that's the mark they're going to bear away, turn left around, and then they're going to have to sail dead downwind, so it's only going to get slower because they can't sail directly from Mark 1 to 2. They're going to have to bear away as much as they can and then jibe. So it's a bit of a zigzag to get downwind to Mark 2. So it doesn't look very far, but it's going to be really slow and painful.
But I think more importantly, in these light air conditions, the masthead 0 sail that they have up is really the best sail in any wind angle under 10 or 12 knots. And so this bearway should be relatively straightforward. Should just be able to ease the sail. You can see the dagger board coming up there to reduce the drag. It's no longer needed when they go downwind, and they'll just have a nice easy bearway, keep the rest of the crew on the bow and try to move really light on your feet and reduce the movement and make sure you don't disrupt what speed they do have. You can hear the easing the sails there, that sound of the winch. That means they've got some good pressure in the sail. Dave Sweet there, very experienced ocean race sailor.
As we pull out here, you can see Team JAJO has managed to conserve, I think, a lot of that speed, and they look pretty safe here. And also, it doesn't look like a square run to me, Sam.
Looks like WindWhisper is struggling to make it up to that first mark, so it's going to be really hard for them.
Interesting to see the difference in angles here. Look at Team Mexico going downwind with a much deeper angle than Team Genova. I wouldn't be surprised if the distance shrinks between those 2 boats quite a bit at the next mark.
That is an incredible bearway. That is just the difference that 1 puff can do. And not in terms of speed, but that is a good 25 degrees lower. They are laying the next mark. Viva Mexico on the other side of WindWhisper Racing Team looks set to be going straight towards that mark. If anything, I think even Eric Brockman on that last puff was taking it even lower than the mark, making sure he sailed right the way down. Now he's coming up on the right-hand side. Oh, and WindWhisper Racing Team, they are in trouble here, Sam.
Yeah, so WindWhisper, they've just got drifted onto the buoy. It looks like they've got contact with that first mark. So that's going to, they've had to furl their head sail, their masthead 0. marks. They weren't going to make it up round that mark, and it looks like they've touched the mark. If they've touched the mark, then they're going to have to do a penalty turn.
That's going to push them a long way behind. In my mind, I am struggling to remember what the clock says from when the first boat finishes, how long you have. But now look on the right-hand side as well. In the action, it's coming thick and fast. We've got Viva Mexico pushing now Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, out to the right-hand side. It looked like Viva Mexico had room at that mark. But I would say, Mark, I mean, they took a lot more room than I'd argue they needed.
Yeah, it was interesting. That all got set up there by the angle that Viva Mexico was able to sail downwind. We weren't able to see who entered the zone at Mark 4, at Mark... well, whatever mark that was, Mark 2. But it'll be interesting to see how that gets ruled and if there's any penalties. I think we have on the water umpiring, so let's stay tuned for what happens here.
And behind them, WindWhisper Racing Team fighting for the overall. This is pretty impressive stuff here in the opening turns of the ocean race import here in Genova. Definitely pushing them on. I mean, I can see that from both sides. You know, if I was Viva Mexico, I'd be thinking, yeah, you know, I've got room. I'm going to push you over. But if I was Austrians over ocean racing, I'd be thinking, whoa, hang on, I've given you a bit of room. I don't have to give you the entire ocean. Well, they are on the tail of the rest of the fleet. Team JAJO really nicely out in the lead here in the We Build import race. The mountains here in Genova do not help the sea breeze develop, but right now we do have enough wind to move these VO65s around. There were some questions as to whether we were going to have 1, 2 or maybe 3 laps for this course. The race committee team have deliberately kept things short. Team JAJO, that breeze has swung round here, Sam, and they're struggling to lay that mark. It's going to be extra maneuvers here, or certainly extra distance.
Yeah, so this leg is now a little bit broader than we saw.
Actually, I think this is my eyes. I think I have done you a disservice here. That is actually the start finish line.
This is the start line.
And I think what's happened here is Team JAJO has sailed actually really far up. I think instead of the breeze coming away and kind of twisting them onto the wrong course, Team JAJO has been nervous about Mirpuri Trifort Racing Team.
But I think as well as from the images we saw on the water, there is quite an unstable breeze here, and I think the team that has the best headsail trimmer, and I think there's going to be some quite big adjustments being made on that headsail trim to adjust to the breeze.
And there's a little bit of action happening at the back of the course as well. We've got Viva Mexico now coming up with Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, to windward. And this is going to be pretty aggressive here from Eric Brockman. He wants to push Gerwin Jansen up. This is the same sort of defense and attack that we saw with Team JAJO and Mirpuri Trifort Racing Team, the boat below, wanting to go high. But it's playing into the hands, perhaps, of Pablo Arate and WindWhisper Racing Team. Eric Brockman is not giving anything here to the Austrians. He came up, he went down, and now he's coming back up again. He wants to make sure that Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, is following his stern. Meanwhile, out in front, Mirpuri Trifort Racing Team, second place, trying to close down that last little distance to the leaders and getting ready to come round Mark 3. Out in the lead, Team JAJO now comes to the turn, and they're going to be pulling on that big masthead Code Zero. Sam, in this breeze going upwind with that sail, normally we see it as a downwind sail, but in this breeze it works pretty well all the way around the racetrack. We are now seeing the action coming into this bottom mark, and it's all going to be about this big turn here and getting the power on as Viva Mexico in third place, watching Mirpuri Trifort Racing Team and being able to use them as some indication for the breeze. And interesting as well, a little bit of swell out on the course. There is quite a bit of traffic out there. Perhaps that's just weight from a big boat. Next to come round, Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, and the distance that we are seeing between them and Viva Mexico is because Eric Brockman had opened up that is the attack and defense being played out there. Meanwhile, Team JAJO are now attacked, hoping to lay Mark 4, the last mark of this square course. And there you can see that tight ley line that you pointed out, Sam. It is really tight, and I don't really know why they did it. They had everything going for them to sail 1-2 lengths further on, make it comfortable. They knew that Mirpuri Trifort Racing Team were either going to follow, or if they did tack early, they'd be in their bad air. So they've made a risk here. I think it's going to come off. I think they've got enough momentum, but shouldn't be doing too much of that. That camera shot, I'm hoping that the lens is is tricking me there and making it look a little bit tighter than it is. It's good to see that little bit of distance open up now between Mark IV and the hull of Team JAJO. I don't think they're going to come into contact, but the speed is down now for Team JAJO, and it's down for the entire fleet, but it does give those back markers a chance to close down the distance. There's the race for first place in the We Build Import race at the grand finale here in Genova, but there is also the race for the overall trophy, and that is going to come down, as we see at the moment, between Team JAJO out in first and WindWhisper Racing Team. You're very light behind here. Just trying to see whether there is a race control boat next to Mark IV, because the chatter here from race control seems to be that the next time these boats are going to go through the line, that is going to be the finish. And if that is the case, the clock starts ticking. At the moment, the boats behind WindWhisper Racing Team, Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, are moving. I wouldn't really like to hazard much of a guess to see whether they are in or out of that time limit, but I bet you anything, somebody on the Polish boat is going to get out a stopwatch. A really strong performance, and the win here at the We Build Import race at the grand finale in Genova, down to a gutsy, skilled, courageous start at the pin end. They could have been in the position that we see WindWhisper Racing Team. They could have been in 5th place right now, losing all the breeze, but instead, due to judging that line and finding the acceleration when nobody else managed to do it, now we see Team JAJO taking the win, their second import race win in the Ocean Race VO65 Sprint, and finishing their journey on a high. In the We Build Import race here at our grand finale in Genova, Viva Mexico. And Mark, a team, I think, in terms of what they had started with, in terms of the resources, the time that they had, that's one thing. But when you look at a boat that has improved over the competition, I think this is the one.
I'm so happy for these guys. I've known this team for a long time. They do all the California and Hawaii racing that I've been doing.
Third. Coming into the line in 4th and 5th, Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova and WindWhisper Racing Team. The clock has started, but only 2 minutes and 15 seconds have gone by. So we are well within the 15-minute limit. So it does look set for WindWhisper Racing Team to cross this finish line. They will be thankful that the breeze has not faded away here. They certainly weren't making it too easy for themselves, but no doubt on this final reach, they'll finish in last place, but they will be at the top of the leaderboard. Now come across the line, and in fact, just from that angle, I'm trying to judge this, but WindWhisper Racing Team might even be pipping Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova. They might even get to 4th place. Can't quite see. No, I think just as we go to the helicopter shot, now we get a better view of the line. Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genova, crossing ahead of WindWhisper Racing Team, and then in 5th place, but finishing at the top of the leaderboard in the Ocean Race VO65 Sprint.
I had a tricky day with not a lot of breeze, but we were there on the start, we had a good start, and from there on we kept leading the race. So super happy. I think the team did an amazing job, and like, you're always as good as your last race, and that's what a lot of good sailors say, and we won the last race, so yeah, happy for now. But it could have gone either way, I'm pretty. Yeah, it's nice to have this moment in the team on the last day. Now it's time for holiday and make new plans, but mate, I love this ocean race. It was a great experience with this team.
Here are the confirmed scores, the overall import scoreboard. We have got Team JAJO here in Genova for the We Build Import race. They take the maximum 6 points. WindWhisper Racing Team down in 5th place, taking 2 points. But what does that mean for the overall? Well, it's close, but it still keeps the Polish team up at the top spot. They needed to finish this race. They needed to make sure they got some points under their belt. It was, at a moment, looking like the light winds would swallow up Pablo Rata and the rest of the crew of WindWhisper Racing Team, but they kept the moment going and they kept themselves moving forward. And now with 19 points, WindWhisper Racing Team are about to lift the trophy for the Import Race Series.